honourable member for Lac St. Anne Parkland.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker, and to the member opposite. Here's one of the gentlemen, or the MLAs that I have a ton of respect for, quite honestly. We may get a little cross-threaded in some of our ideals or where we come from, but he always has very salient arguments. So one of the items I want to touch upon from the member, he was talking about why there was a flight of capital and why some of these large corporations have actually left. So when you look at what was taking place in the political landscape, and I'll talk about the energy sector for a bit, because again, as the members opposite may acknowledge at this point, I do have some understanding of it since I came from there. So there's a gentleman by the name of Gil McGowan. I'm not sure if they've heard of him, but he put out quite a few different articles on why they had to move or looked at moving their headquarters. And again, this was something that pained Gil McGowan because, again, he was very much a patriot, very much Canada first, Alberta first, developed the Encana Corporation, which then became Synovus, etc. So what they were looking at was because of project uncertainty and a lot of the regulatory issues that were taking place, both federally and provincially at the time, he didn't hold it against the new CEO of that company for having to take and move their headquarters down to Denver, where they could actually invest, make sure there was a continual return on investment, and get full choke for the value of what they're producing. Again, when you're getting such deep discounts for the Canadian product, and you simply cross the border, and you're getting full value for your products, that was part of it. When you look at the Gateway project, there was tons of folks that were up and down protesting, and Gil McGowan, again, was one of those folks protesting against the Gateway project and Clipper and every other project. When those folks actually claimed victory at this point, I think their jaws hit the ground just as bad as anything, or one of those cartoon characters I was explaining about earlier. They couldn't believe that finally that was it. Well, Enbridge finally had enough, Madam Speaker. They ended up acquiring Spectra. They became the largest gas producer in North America. They were our largest pipeline company in Canada. Now they're basically the largest. They got tired of it. Quite honestly, that Gateway project was ahead of Clipper when we were looking at building the Clipper project. Gateway got delayed because there was more of an impetus to try to get our oil going north and south of the border. So that project has been on the books for 15-ish, 20 years. It finally got to the point when you can't even build across your own country and get to ports with the changes in the tanker bans that were taking place, all the bad press and everything else. Enbridge finally said enough. Bought up Spectra. They're going to go take and play in the States. When you want to talk flight of capital, it's not just in the last couple of years. This has been an ongoing thing. But during those times, when the Liberals got voted in again, that was about the last tipping point. We can point to tech as an example of all the blockades and barricades that were going in place. When you keep having this civil unrest, this churn, these regulatory issues that are happening, that's when these type of things happen, and that's when you're poisoning the well. So when we're talking diversification and transformative, now the aerospace industry. So with the Villeneuve Landing Network, Madam Speaker, again, talking one of those pillars, this group, so led by Mir Natu from Sturgeon County, and Villeneuve Airport itself is actually an international airport tied in with EIA. There's a consortium there from around the region that actually ponied up, put some money in the pot, and paid for a consultant out of Kissimmee, Florida. And I was privileged enough to be in the call with this, again, because it's from my area and very much we're trying to support the economy. This one little airport, when they're looking at it, can generate $65 to $115 million a year. It's simple. We start utilizing the technology that we have. We start taking that. Transferable skill sets, by the way, all those energy sector folks, this is coming from the consultant's mouth. They can transfer quite easily over to this. This is a global stage. These are global markets that we can do. So if we stop polluting and stop poisoning the darn well, we've got the resources, we have the wherewithal, and we have transferable skill sets. And we're sitting on the doorstep of the world, Madam Speaker. Literally because on the Great Circle, we're closer to everybody. Alaska used to be a major port for the world until Russia actually opened up the airspace and for some undisclosed fee allows air traffic over them. But Edmonton is on that Great Circle. We're literally on the doorstep, gateway to the north, gateway to the world. And when you start talking aerospace, it's a global industry. Trillions of dollars go into defense. Billions of dollars a day are spent literally on the aerospace industry. And it's not just passenger traffic. So the member from City Centre, again, I appreciate the points he's bringing forward. He does have some good questions, and I'm looking forward to that same debate of understanding how the structure will work between the different boards. But again, when he wants to start talking flight of capital, all they have to do is look in the mirror and see every time that they're polluting that energy sector and adding doubt and questions into industries, this is the cause of it. There is flight of capital because folks don't know where we're at. And again, that's why we're pushing so hard to make sure regulatory processes make sense, make sure that folks know how to get through the hopper, and that we do support all of the pillars of our economy.